Saw you in the flame. Come to pray at the statue? The others are welcome, but it's best if just you and I trade words, and your shadows stay quiet. Hands off their weapons, both arcane and steel. It's only you I want to trade words with anyway. I swear before the whore that is Margaret, no harm will come to you in her shadow, if that's enough of a promise for you. If not... I didn't give it. You probably find names as useless as I do. The names that litter this world like debris are hard enough to wrap around the tongue. And what do they matter? It's what's beneath the skin and the letters I care about. What burns within. It's more important to me you're a watcher than whatever culture or accent decorates your letters like awkward crowns. Take pride in your actions, not where you hail from, or how your name rolls off whatever liar's tongue coats it now. If you need a title to hang on me to match your own, Watcher, then call me Durance. And as you observe souls, I test them. I am a missionary. I walk this diseased nation with its heathen, its people so careless with the spirits of others and their own, watchers among them. Yes, I know you for what you are, and your name doesn't interest me. Names are for honest folk, and you are a crack that shines light from another place. We're meant to travel together, you and I. Saw you in the flames. Not your face, but that soul of yours, all tightened up like a huntsman's knot. There's things we can teach each other, if you're in need of answers to your mantle of questions. I don't force my words on anyone other than you. I don't care who walks with you or what their mewling problems and politics are. There's enough howling in the world without me stoking that fire. I won't take from your provisions, don't need much on the road. I can carry my weight, which is considerable. Many will stand against you. They probably already have, from what I can see. Left their marks, it seems. Like a trail, worming its way behind you. Disease? Spirit wind? Both could have touched you, yet here you stand. As for disease, not all of us were close to water when the pox hit, but it's no longer a passenger in my flesh. It left its marks as well. But like flames, the pox doesn't strike twice, nor is it catching. Her? Don't fear her jealousy. Let us see what the road holds, Watcher. What? If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door. The cost of troubling me seems to worry you little. That's a curse that runs deeper. It's a godhammer of a different sort. And like the godhammer, it was made by men's hands. There are fewer souls. There are more vessels. It is simply equaling of the process. I feel more remorse in putting down a slathering hound. A wict? Less than a mongrel in its misery. Murder is a kindness, not a crime. Always has been. I would sooner put the blade to those who are to blame instead. If any spirit should be punished, it's theirs. Murder you? I would not grant you any of them. The mercy I grant the Hollowborn. You would not be deserving of it. Murder is an old word. Mercy is letting a soul fly free to the next body. True punishment? Ruining someone to their soul. Crack their spirit like you would crack their skulls with a staff. Beat them. Hurt them in mind and body, so their souls become shards. But you leave it inside the vessel, like a bag of glass, to either choke on it, or pass it through their bloody stool. Then, leave it in the body to think on it, like planting a new field with the right seed. Many marks may I make upon your flesh, but flame leaves marks that cannot heal. Magran doctrine dictates true punishment is one that remains in memory, in the soul, in the flesh. Even should the victims die, slowly or swift, sometimes by their own hand afterwards, the lesson lingers, burned in their flesh. Have you seen a man branded by flame? He remembers it always, in every waking movement. It is a lesson writ in the only ink and vellum that matters, blood and flesh. One can burn the soul as well. It is an art, and I do not take pleasure in it, but there is more at stake here than forgiveness. Many of Aethus's faith were punished in the purges following the Saints' War, and the ones that harmed children, they suffered worse. We did what must be done. Wherever they were rooted out, their souls reclaimed. And if they couldn't be reclaimed, we ensured they would never inhabit another body. Aethus was the god of rebirth, and his light does not fall on the deer wood. I've heard some claim it's his doing, his death. It's closed the halls to new souls. I doubt it. The Hollowborn have their roots in the acts of men, women. I feel it. If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door. That's a curse that runs deeper. It's a godhammer of a different sort. And like the godhammer, it was made by men's hands. Wasn't a war. It was a god stepping past himself. The country of Saris and all their heathens. They're paying for it now. Although by my count, the fire should have roared through their country with more force, catching all their souls. Truth, it wasn't even a war. It was a cautionary tale about pride. Specifically, Widewind's pride. He should have stayed a farmer. Gods have taken flesh, in all respects, taking willing and unwilling vessels. It's not a violation, it's what gods do, as long as they accept all that comes with it. Men are weak. Gods? Well, we showed old Widewen that he was flesh and blood, no matter how much light was pouring out of his farmer's hands. Took men of faith to build a weapon, a godhammer. Judgment. Proved him dead at Halgot Citadel. We poured the God Hammer into its foundations with faith. Set it alight. Let the hammer fall, upwards onto the anvil. 8 died before the God Hammer fell, and the God Hammer claimed the remainder. 12 in all. We started saving the Aothasians from themselves, burning any that didn't die with their god. Heresy in Saris is one thing. Heresy here in the Deerwood comes with a more personal touch. As I see it, every Aothasian who still lives in the Deerwood puts the nation at risk, is another dagger held to the throat of our faith. Root them out, burn them, or send them back to Raed Ceres to wallow in the blood of their failure. What? If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door. I suspect the answers will seed more questions. She's a goddess, as fickle as they come, and with all the failings you'd expect of an empress and a whore. Too many eyes, too many wants, too much to hold on to. That's the failing of a god. More aspects than words to describe her, like most of them. A god with many nations to oversee, only serves to spread herself too thin. I suspect the answers will seed more questions. Some, shaped for hunt and war. Abidan the Golem, Galawain and his beasts. The latter keeps us honest and awake. The other makes the tools by which we punish those who are not. If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door. I suspect the answers will seed more questions. She's a goddess, as fickle as they come, and with all the failings you'd expect of an empress and a whore. Too many eyes, too many wants, too much to hold on to. That's the failing of a god. More aspects than words to describe her, like most of them. A god with many nations to oversee, only serves to spread herself too thin. I suspect the answers will seed more questions. Some, shaped for hunt and war. Abidan the Golem, Galawain and his beasts. The latter keeps us honest and awake. The other makes the tools by which we punish those who are not. If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door. I suspect the answers will seed more questions. I suspect the answers will seed more questions. Tell me what you saw. It is the light of the Godhammer you saw. It was a weapon of Deerwood's people, a symbol of their independence. It saved the Deerwood. It brought the Saints' War to an end, knocked a god from his perch. There are few that would deny Eothas overstepped. The Godhammer reminded Eothas of it. You saw its light because I helped shape it, give it life, and release it into the world. Once seen, its glory is almost too bright to be believed, and too bright to be forgotten. There were 12 of us. We fashioned the weapon, drafted plans for it, prayed for guidance at Ashfall, and it came to me there. Each of us were given a staff made from the forest of black trees around us, glowing with embers and fire far greater than this branch you see now. It felt as if the staff was Margaren's own finger, guiding my hand, guiding the other 11, the shadows of the 12 who would come to stand on the bridge to stop Aethys. Even in that stand, there was a ritual to it. For the 12 that stood on the bridge, there were 12 shadows cast, 12 faithful of Margren, her fiercest supporters and shapers of the Godhammer. As 12 held Aethys fast, we 12 unleashed our prayers and let the Godhammer fall. Shadows cast by the fire of the Godhammer, perhaps. And we shared their fate as well in time. Now the spine of the Deerwood is marked by the Godhammer, marked by Margaret. Not all deaths come with stilled breath and stilled heart, or other stilled passions beneath the waste. Some deaths come from silence. The connection we once shared with Margren, after the light of the Godhammer, it was not the same. It was as if we'd lost our senses, and sense of purpose as well. Instead of victory being welcomed, there was silence, within and without. Not many can claim to have killed a god. It is less a heroic tale than you would think. And such a death, it changed our faith. All faiths, I expect. Doubt followed, and the world changed. I do not believe Margren was pleased by what we had done. The world is broken, the wheel stilled. There is sickness in the world's heart, perhaps the price of crossing a god. Crossing 2 gods. Even as Margren shaped our hands, perhaps we carried her will farther than was allowed. Just as Widewind did. Saint Widewind. Mortal arrogance to match mortal arrogance. Yet if the world had changed, then I sought to change with it. If I had forgotten some of Margren's teachings, I would find them again. I would make her see me again. I remembered Margren's teachings, how reminders on the flesh were more important than the death of a vessel. And I wondered if killing Aethys, if that had simply set him free. Had it allowed him to escape his punishment and be taken on the wheel, like a mortal? As I stepped from the now blessed Godhammer Bridge, I thought of Ashfall. I thought of the War of Black Trees, wondered if I needed to be burned to find myself again. That is Margren at her heart. At least that is my hope. These are the doubts that befall me. The road to Ashfall is long, gives one time to think. If you think long enough, you do not go home. I left without telling anyone, with only the robes I wore at Halgot, my staff, and my name, which is long buried. Of my fellow 11 craftsmen, disciples, I know not what happened to them, if they suffered the same doubt as I did. But it was underserved. It was wrong. We had done all that, or had asked. Grabbed victory from defeat and... We put much of ourselves into the Godhammer. Such a device is not simply a machine. There are elements of the spirit in it, even Widewind's spirit. Each of the 12 who brought the Godhammer forth would have done anything to save the Deerwood, save its people. It is why we were chosen. Each of us hated this pretender. That rage, that spirit, that rebellion went into our work, and went into studying him as well. We all studied Widewind. He was our enemy, and he had provided the flesh the god wore as a cloak. That flesh made him vulnerable. I knew what fields his hands had tilled, his family, what he had harvested, where he had been born. We sought to know him, what had led him to fight us. You don't kill the god, you kill the man it inhabits. And you leave that man a ruin, burn him to ash. The weapon was meant to not only burn his flesh, but it would burn his soul. And it did, at the cost of our own. And at the cost of our goddess's favor, that whore be damned. If you fear for my spirit, your fears are baseless. The Godhammer, seeing its light, only fueled my anger and made me stronger, made me re-examine the teachings of Margren, put them in a new light. I do not need you to cast any more questions on me, Watcher. Nor did I ask you to look upon me without my leave. Get gone, and leave me be. What? If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door. I suspect... I suspect... I suspect... Where I hail from? From one of Margren's fires. A cathedral. Ashfall. Made of blackened trees. I studied the scriptures there. The fires carved into the land, the trunks of the burnt trees, and in the factories where the rifles and cartridges were shaped. All are chapels in other devotions. This, in a way, this is more of what's left behind when flame strikes. If Ashfall is a cathedral propped up and fenced with such sticks, then this stick, well, this is what props me up as I walk the cathedral of my road, to other Ashfalls waiting to be made, perhaps. The wood is taken from the War of Black Trees. Sturdy. It served me well on my travels, been a boon companion. What? If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door. You see many things that aren't there, Watcher. Perhaps the symbol was for your disappearing sanity, and we are to bid it farewell while you still have the wits to grieve for it. That symbol, the God Hammer. No riddle there, Watcher. It took 12 of us to build the God Hammer. Afterward, I took my leave of all of them to see what Margaret had in store for me. I've seen none of them since. Your kind has a way of interpreting its visions to fit the version of the truth you like best. But Margaret's flame leaves no room for interpretation. Waste the time of others with your distortions and your fever dreams. It's always the way of the mad to try to convince others of a reality only they can see. But when your doctrine's the truth, it requires no convincing, only an opening of the eyes. I would purify you, Watcher, if I thought it would help. The cost of troubling me seems to worry you little. Huh. I suspect the answers will seed more questions. What is it, Watcher? It stinks of her. It is justice, but if her greater purpose was to think Margaret would fall prey to such deceit. And Aethys. Widewind had always claimed to be invading Deerwood to free it. What if it were true? What if he had come to stop Woodica's plot before it began? Surely Aethys earned his death at Godhammer Citadel, but not for those reasons. Not to keep him silent. If such a thing has brought about this chaos, must we always be tools of gods? If Woodica and Margaret, if they are the cause of this, the Hollowborn, if the purges were never necessary, if Aethys was fighting back. No, I am glad to have walked this far with you, seen this truth. Perhaps it was what I was meant to see, with a Watcher's eyes. All these dances of words and intrigues, machines of men, twisted, ripping the souls of children, and by the gods, the goddess of justice. If I could end her like Aethys, Margaret burnt her once. One can do so again. Woodica, she must answer to her own justice. Anyone with a shred of spirit seeks both justice and punishment. It burns in the heart of anyone who lives. All seek it. If the world does not balance, we all drown in the oceans. And the gods would not care. Margaret, she must be redeemed. And punishing Woodica, that will serve. Is this some final joke at my expense? To test my faith further? And why would you think that, Watcher? If all you have are questions, then I have enough of those. She is a bitch of a goddess, to be sure, but even a whore only goes so far in crossing those she serves. You answer a question with a question. Then why did I feel her disappointment at Halgot? Why were we shamed? Kill me. She is a goddess. I still drink from her burning breasts, Watcher. If she wished me dead, she could trace me to my source and kill me. There's no proof, Watcher. I was a fool to think you could help me see any farther than I could. They died in the blast, yes. The other 11. I was the only one to walk away. I thought we had wronged our goddess. That this was my trial, and if I could prove myself worthy of her! I should have known better. There is only one God of redemption, and I saw him ended. To think I served her, I followed her. Now I shall serve no one. Woodica's lies must be answered. And now it seems I must take fire and war from a goddess's false claim as well. I still take from her strength as I did, for as long as it lasts. For I shall not cast her aside yet, until I have drained her dry and had my fill, just as she intended for me. For I have learned one of the lessons of the faithful. The faithful may wound a goddess greater than any enemy. A purification is coming, and this fire shall consume them both.